Paris Jackson stepped onto the witness stand wearing a dark navy blazer, her father's favorite color. Her hands were shaking, but her voice unusually steady. She reached into a file folder and pulled out a yellowing envelope written in unmistakable cursive. For Paris, not before you're 21. If they come for you, show them this. A judge asked her, "Can you confirm who wrote that?" She replied, "Michael Joseph Jackson, my father." Inside was a 3-page letter written in early 2008, just 18 months before he died. No greeting, just this opening line: "There are people in this industry I was told to never name, but your safety means more to me than silence." And he writes, "There are houses in the hills where no music is played, only silence and instruction. You'll hear them talk about training, but they don't mean vocals, they mean obedience." And finally, the one they call SC is not a producer, he is a system. If you see him, don't sing. Federal investigators immediately flag the initials, but viewers of this video know that same name, or rather initials, has been attached to multiple shadow figures in the Diddy trial. SC has appeared in internal pulse memos, artist rehab protocol, compliance, override documents. Now Michael Jackson, the most powerful solo artist in music. History is linking that same entity to Paris's future safety, she said. "That winter he became obsessed with keeping me out of studios." He said, "They are circling again, the ones from 1993. I didn't know what he meant, but he'd pace the house whispering things, stuff like they put contracts in mirrors now and don't sign anything in a room with no corners." She paused. "He made me promise if anyone tried to offer me mentorship through a foundation, I had to call him first." He said that's where they hide on page 2 of the letter Michael wrote. "Color memes is not the king, he's a courier. Watch who he delivers you to." This is the first time Michael Jackson has ever been tied directly or indirectly to Sean Combs. In an official legal context, Paris was asked, "Did your father ever say Sean Combs' name out loud?" She shook her head. "No, he'd only call him the Velvet Hand. He said they make you feel chosen." Right before they take what they really came for, the judge asked, "Why bring this letter forward now, Miss Jackson?" Paris took a long pause and said, "Because everything my dad feared is happening again, the training, the silence, the looping, and this time they came for girls I know, dancers, stylists, some of them younger than me." Closing line part 1. This wasn't a father's paranoia, it was a blueprint for survival sealed in an envelope and written by the man who tried to warn the world with music, but knew they'd only listen when it was too late. Here's your next chapter, and just a reminder, every deleted tweet fake statement and PR cover-up takes hours to piece together. If you want to help this channel keep going, hit that join button and become a member. We'll keep exposing what they won't. Paris took a breath and told the court he had these nights where he wouldn't sleep. I'd hear him talking, but no one would be in the room. "One night in 2008, I saw him arguing with a mirror." She hesitated. He said, "You can't see them, but they're always watching, and they're like reflections because they can hide the offer in the light." She was 10 years old, but she remembered the phrase clear as day. Never signed anything in a room with no corners, an architectural detail hidden in plain sight. In multiple high-end studios, particularly those built for artist training, the rooms were custom-designed, rounded ceilings, curved walls, no harsh edges, nothing angular. Paris said, "He told me corners were where the truth hid, and if a room had none, it meant someone was trying to control the sound and the memory." Court records show that Michael's personal security logs included a handwritten note from early 2006: "Do not allow SC pass gate, be no entry even if name is changed or mask, velvet voice, velvet hand, hidden contracts, underlined twice, no recordings when he visits." And next to that entry, the initials DC, also underlined. Investigators believe DC may refer to delivery courier, code for people who transported contracted artists between estate shows or training locations. This directly matches multiple witness statements in the current Diddy case referred to the Velvet Men who would arrive late and take someone away quietly. In 2011, Diddy quietly purchased a home in the Hollywood Hills under a Shell LLC blueprint. Show a circular main living room with zero sharp edges, an underground studio labeled Phase C, a private elevator accessible only from a guest house, and most disturbingly a room with glass walls but no ceiling listed as visual reorientation. Sweet in his letter, Michael wrote, "They put you in glass so you think. It's freedom, but glass bends a light and hides what's really happening." She told the court, he said they built rooms to scramble your mind that mirrors and glass weren't for vanity, they were for reflection disruption, so you couldn't remember what actually happened inside. One entry in her diary from 2009 reads, "Daddy said a man offered him the mirror room again. He told them no. He said, I've already seen what they do with sound." In an unreleased personal letter discovered in 2020 authenticated by two Jackson state attorneys, Michael wrote, "The ones who offer you the most light are often the ones who take the most sound, and when you can't sing without hearing their approval, you're no longer singing at all." Multiple victims in the Diddy case have used the phrase, "He made it feel luxurious, like you were lucky." Paris said, "My dad always called it velvet because velvet covers sharp things, and the sharpest thing in Hollywood is silence." He warned her about the voice that comes with promises, a hand that signs without ink, and the rooms that echo but never remember. Paris Jackson was 18 years old. Her modeling career was rising. Acting offers were coming in. Then she got an email from someone using the name Luca as affiliated with a creative executive placement firm. She told the court they said they represented a private music consortium, not a label or development guild. "They told me my father had cleared the path and that they could make me the next message carrier." That exact phrase, message carrier, has shown up in 3 separate testimonies in the Diddy trial. One dancer said she was told she'd deliver presents through choreography. A stylist claimed she was taught how to dress styles. Her conditioning influence and ex-vocal coach said she quit when told her student were being groomed to loop phrasing for delivery to mass audiences. Paris now claims they were trying to reintegrate her into the system her father warned her about. They said, "I didn't need to be a star, just a symbol." After declining the offer, Paris noticed strange changes in her public coverage. A canceled magazine spread last-minute editorial choice, a sudden flurry of Twitter hate accusing her of being inauthentic. Emails from former collaborators simply stopped, she told the judge. "It was like someone flipped a switch. I went from being a legacy to being labeled unstable, just like he warned me." In 2009, shortly before his death, Michael filmed a private rehearsal session. The footage was meant for family archives. At timestamp 344, he pauses mid-song, stays into the camera, and mouths a phrase never spoken out loud, tell Paris. "Mirror light is false. That clip was never released publicly until this trial." The court paused, replayed the moment 3 times. Each time his lips matched those exact words. Paris testified, "He knew the light would tempt me, but he also knew how to break its spell." She later revealed her father gave her a bracelet with a small mirror shard embedded in the charm. He told me, "If the light ever makes you doubt what's real, look at it through. This not their mirror, yours." The email from Luca has included a final pitch. "Your father opened the portal. Now it's your turn to carry the echo." She responded with just one sentence, "I don't echo. I remember the world thought she was just his daughter." But Paris wasn't just carrying his name, she was carrying the warning. And this time she brought the receipt. Former security chief James Laurel stepped onto the stand with a single folder and a face full of hesitation. He began, "Michael trusted very few people near the end, but there were moments he let the mask slip, and what he told me changed everything I thought I knew about that world." Michael was scheduled to perform at a private after-party event hosted by a powerful group of executives. He arrived, stepped inside, and immediately froze. I saw him stare at the stage. The floor was red glass, ceiling mirrors, no microphones, just 3 white spotlights. And a couch. James testified. He turned to me and said, "This isn't a concert, this is a contract ceremony." According to insiders, a ritualized performance meant to symbolically mark compliance, silently finalize high-stakes deals, bind the performer to specific influence loops. James said Michael refused to go on stage. He pulled me aside and said they want me to echo something that doesn't belong to me. He walked out the room, emptied silently. No footage was ever released. 3 months later, while prepping for a press shoot, James noticed a glint in the corner of the dressing mirror. He unscrewed the frame inside a lens and a wire that ran through the wall. Michael stared at it and whispered, "They always watch the voice, especially when it's trying to heal." James submitted a photograph of the setup, dated and verified, showing an MIC disguised as a light bulb. James said, "He told me the system wanted more than his sound. They wanted his ability to move emotion, to control how people feel through his voice, not just what they hear." Michael wrote in a journal entry, "They study resonance, not lyrics. It's why they let you sing as long as you don't feel." In a chilling twist, 3 different victims in the Diddy case have now referred to a red room, one called the place, where they see who's ready to leave themselves behind. Another said, "It's not a place, it's a test you walk in whole and come out echoing." And now we know Michael faced it too, but refused. James Laurel said, "The last night I worked for him, he hugged me and said, 'You know why they hate me? Because I sing without the system.' Then he added, 'And I told my daughter if they ever come for Paris, tell her he never signed it.'" The Velvet Room, the contract ceremony, the voice they tried to loop but couldn't, and the father who spent his final years not just protecting a legacy but preparing a daughter to finish the fight. Paris stood up, reached into her coat pocket, and pulled out a small red envelope. She walked directly to the judge and handed it to him. No lawyer, no announcement. The judge opened it. Inside was a USB drive labeled Jackson Vault T 2011 for Paris. If they ever asked, the audio file on the drive was 91 seconds long. It was Michael Jackson alone, speaking softly, likely recorded sometime in 2007. He says they used to call it a gift, then they called it a product, then they said, "We'll take it from here." He goes silent, then they build the walls with compliments and fill the rooms with velvet. And when you try to leave, they say, "You're hurting the ones who believed in you." He ends, "I'm recording this because someday I may not be able to say it after the audio played." Paris explained that her father gave her a teddy bear a few weeks after this was recorded. On the tag, he wrote, "If it ever feels too quiet, look in the stitching." She never knew what he meant until last year when Taiwan the stitching began to unravel. She found a tiny chip embedded near the bae's neck under the second audio file. But this one was from Paris herself. The court played the second file. Paris couldn't have been older than 70. Audio was fuzzy, but you could hear her whisper. Daddy said, "If I ever get lost, not to listen to the man with the soft voice because he makes you forget your name." Then silence followed by her younger voice singing, "They can't hear you if you scream inside." She told the judge, "I don't remember recording that, but I remember the fear." Federal prosecutors immediately requested a recess. One agent reportedly said off camera, "If Jackson protected his daughter with this level of foresight, then this wasn't paranoia, it was preemptive testimony." Michael used a coded vault system for his unreleased archives. Insiders now believe T1211 was his personal shorthand for targeted 12 room 11. Room 11 was his private studio, the only one without external security access. It's also where, according to his housekeeper, he'd go when he didn't trust the walls. She stood before the court holding the bear and said, "I didn't come here to hurt anyone. I came here because he told me they'd try again, and they did. This isn't about fame, it's about freedom. And someone has to say it first. Not every legacy is a song. Some are whispers in mirrors, files in vaults, and warnings sewn inside." A childhood toy in his 2002 will notarize and certified Michael Jackson included a single handwritten line. Beneath the typed legal clauses, it read, "No inheritance may be used to activate the Velvet Clause." Attorneys at the time marked it as non-legal phrasing, likely symbolic, but in court today that clause was the final piece of the puzzle, because thanks to Paris we now know what Velvet Clause meant. Federal agents recently obtained a private development contract from a now-defunct production label tied to Bad Boy Entertainment. Buried in the language, page 19, paragraph 4, subject agrees to adhere to influence conditioning during all appearances under the Velvet Clause. The clause refers to appearance. Control emotional modulation exposure to silent rooms for resonance dampening, in short, a mechanism for behavioral programming masquerading as branding. Paris told the court he left the warning in plain sight, but they thought it was art. Turns out Michael had hired his own coder, someone to help him embed keywords into his legacy files. Velvet Clause was one of them. So was Glass Echo and Mirror Loop. Each one ties back to ongoing investigations into trauma-based artist manipulation inside the wills. Archival box. Court officials found a second red envelope labeled "If She Ever Speaks" inside a single sentence written in Michael's Chi handwriting. They will try to silence the ones who still sing their own song. Below that, a thumb drive on a document titled "The Ones Who Escaped." The file contained a list of 14 names. Each had 2 dates, 1 marked entry, 1 marked withdrawal. The final name on the list, Paris M. Jackson, entry A, an AI withdrawal. Initiated prosecutors believe it was a tracking document, a list of individuals who had either entered the system willingly or were born adjacent to it and later broke away, and only 3 names on the list had both dates filled. One insider said it wasn't just what Paris showed them, it's that Michael prepared this before she even knew what she'd be up against. That's not paranoia, that's legacy protection. And it worked. The judges ordered full forensic review of Jackson State Archive, a separate subcommittee to verify Velvet Clause documents across labels, witness protection for Paris Jackson until full disclosure protocols are met. One DA reportedly said this just blew open an entirely new line of investigation. And the Jacksons aren't just victims, they are whistleblowers. A father who knew the war was coming, a daughter who refused to echo, and a courtroom that finally heard the "You" song unfiltered.